When people smile at you, you assume they're being friendly. You assume you're welcome. That was my first mistake, because by the time I realized my neighbors were trying to push me out of my own home, they had already been working behind the scenes for weeks. When I moved in, nothing felt wrong. Casual conversations, friendly nods, compliments about the house. It looked like a quiet, peaceful neighborhood, the kind of place where nothing ever happens. But what I didn't realize was that I was being observed, judged, compared to expectations I was never told about. And once they decided I didn't belong, everything changed. It started quietly, a note on my door claiming I was out of compliance. No name, no explanation. I brushed it off, assuming it was a mistake. Then another notice came, and another. Different days, same message. The language felt official, but something about it didn't sit right. It felt coordinated, like someone was testing how I'd respond. Instead of reacting, I paid attention. I noticed the same few neighbors appearing again and again, the same wording repeated in emails, the same vague complaints with no clear violations listed. It wasn't concern, it was strategy, and they were counting on me panicking. Soon the pressure increased. Emails became more aggressive. Phone calls came from people claiming to be worried for the neighborhood. Fines were mentioned. Legal terms were thrown around, not to solve anything, but to scare me into giving up. The goal wasn't fairness. The goal was exhaustion. But intimidation has a weakness. It leaves a trail. So I started documenting everything. Every letter, every email, every phone call, dates, times, names. While they tried to overwhelm me emotionally, I stayed methodical, calm, patient, because facts don't argue back, they just exist. As the complaints continued, something became obvious. The neighbors accusing me were far too confident. They spoke about rules like they were untouchable, and that confidence made me curious. People who follow every rule don't usually worry about someone else asking questions. So I started looking into public records, permits, property filings, meeting minutes going back years. What I found changed everything. Unapproved renovations, structures that were never inspected, properties being rented illegally. The same people demanding my removal had been violating the rules long before I arrived. I didn't confront them. I didn't post anything online. I didn't even hint at what I knew. I let them keep pushing. Every new complaint only strengthened the pattern I was documenting. Selective enforcement, coordinated pressure, a clear attempt to force someone out without cause. Eventually, a formal meeting was scheduled. This was supposed to decide my future in the neighborhood. They walked in relaxed, confident, already convinced the outcome was decided. I could tell they expected excuses, emotional responses, defensiveness. Instead, I stayed calm. When it was my turn to speak, I didn't accuse anyone. I presented facts, timelines, documents, records. I showed how the complaints aligned, how enforcement was selective, and then piece by piece, I revealed what I had uncovered in the public records. The atmosphere changed immediately. People shifted in their seats. Conversations stopped. The same neighbors who had been so vocal suddenly had questions, clarifications, explanations they weren't prepared to give. Because once the truth is out in the open, control disappears. After that meeting, everything went quiet. The emails stopped, the phone calls ended, deadlines quietly vanished. The neighbors who once tried to corner me wouldn't even make eye contact anymore, not because I threatened them, but because the balance of power had shifted. What followed were inspections, reviews, questions from people who hadn't been involved before. The focus was no longer on me, it was on them, and for the first time, they had to answer for their own actions. This wasn't revenge, it was accountability. I didn't win by yelling or attacking. I won by staying patient while others exposed themselves. The lesson here is simple. When people try to push you out quietly, don't rush to defend yourself. Watch carefully, listen closely, document everything. Because intimidation only works when no one is paying attention. They tried to remove me from my own home.
Instead, the truth removed their power.